Alrighty guys, it is Rhymestyle here today, and today I'm bringing you another discussion with Qaaman here. And today we're discussing Team Universe 6 versus Team Universe 7, so naturally we're going to be discussing spoilers from Chapter 7. So this is your one alert to leave right now if you don't want nothing spoiled. But okay, so before we get into this, I was literally just talking to Qaaman about my new theory about how God Key works. And because of my most recent theory, that if you want to watch that video, I will link it in the description below. I have reason to believe that Piccolo and Majin Buu will not be trained under Beerus and Whis prior to going through this tournament for many reasons. And before we really get into it, let me just break it down. So what I discovered was Super Saiyan God with the red hair and Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan with the blue hair are two different forms of God Ki. I mean, it's God Ki, but it's achieved differently. Super Saiyan God with the red hair, as we know, is achieved through a ritual, or basically you hold hands of pure heart Saiyans, and then they inject the power into you to give you this boost of strength that you can basically use for so and so amount of time. Problem with that was you need to have friends to do that, and there's no way to achieve it on its own. Well, what Whis showed Beerus, not Beerus, but Vegeta and Goku over the course of a couple months is he taught them two things. One, he taught them to hold Ki inside their body, and after they mastered it, they got thrown into that room. We'll call it that room. That room,
cloudy dimension.
The cloudy dimension, which was full of God Ki. So when Goku and Vegeta, who've been training under Whis and learning how to hold Ki inside them, they absorbed all this God Ki, which is how Goku and Vegeta achieved Super Saiyan Blue. This is the big secret. This is what they did to transform into that legendary form that we saw in Resurrection F and in Dragon Ball Super. So that's the big secret. That's why Vegeta never achieved Super Saiyan God Red, because he never did a ritual, he never needed it, and that's why Super Saiyan Blue is a new level, strong and whatever. So that's the big secret. Essentially, you learn how to master Ki and hold it inside you, and then step 2 is find some God Ki, in which case for Whis was his power staff, which basically what Goku and Vegeta absorbed, and that's how they became powerful. So they have God Ki inside them because of that, and because of their training, they learn to control inside them. Now, here's the big flaw. Qaaman, you know what the big flaw is? The big flaw is this epic tournament is starting in 5 days. It took Goku and Vegeta months to learn how to keep God Ki inside, or how to keep Ki inside them. So how are Piccolo and Majin Buu going to be taught to basically master and learn how to keep Ki inside and they get thrown in the same room? So the big theory was, well, who can be next? Will Goten and Trunks do it next? Will Gohan do it next? Will Piccolo and Majin Buu do it next? Like, I mean, obviously those are the big ones because Majin Buu and Piccolo are supposed to be this tournament. But the problem is there's not enough time for them to master that. So it's like, how are they going to do it? They can't just take Majin Buu and Piccolo and toss them into the cloudy dimension because they won't know what to do. They won't be able to move. They'll be stuck there. They'll starve to death. And they can't throw them in the Room of Spirit at the time because Goku and Vegeta are using it. So what is going to happen here to allow Piccolo and Majin Buu to jump in power? So my theory was, as far as those two, they're not going to get stronger that way. They will most likely get stronger another way, but not through the same way that Goku and Vegeta did. Now, as far as Team Universe 6, I feel like because 5 days, again, it's still not enough time for them to master it. Two things will happen. Either one, Vados has a new way to teach them faster. Maybe she has her own Room of Spirit at the time, or she has more time that will slow down, and she'll probably teach them the same way that what's the name, Whis taught Goku and Vegeta. Then they'll get tossed to her staff. Or the other theory is they've already achieved either God Ki of some sort, or are just really, really powerful to the point where they can spar with gods for that team. But Qaaman here, as we were discussing this off air, I should say, he doesn't believe this is the case. He thinks it's going to be something different. So, Qaaman, go ahead and tell me everything that you wanted to mention when we were talking about it earlier.
Yes, Dino, and it's actually one of the things you were mentioning. You know, when I was talking, I was talking to Super Jane from Space Australia about this, and we both basically came to the conclusion that, well, first of all, let me just map this out by using some power scaling. Going by Dragon Ball Super, the anime, not the manga, even though the manga's going to this tournament, because they're obviously going to depict things differently.
Right.
We saw in Dragon Ball Super that Piccolo was killed. Hates me to say this. Piccolo was killed by Frieza in his base form.
Right.
And this is also telling me that when you look at Gohan went Super Saiyan, and once he went Super Saiyan, he was able to defeat Ginyu/Tagoma. So, looking at it like that, that's telling me that Piccolo was still significantly weaker than Gohan. Yes, obviously he was holding back because he had his weighted clothing on. But that's still telling me that Piccolo is still weaker than Gohan as of Resurrection F. So let's compare this, and even if you go by the movie too, because of how easily Gohan defeated Shisami. So that's already telling me that Piccolo is already weaker than Gohan. So, and he got killed in one blast by Frieza in his base form. All right? So looking at it like that, that's telling me that if Piccolo is that much weaker than Gohan, who is that much weaker than Frieza, there's no way that these guys are going to fight against an even stronger group of villains and or opponents. And here's the reason why I think the villains are going to, or should I say the Champa's team is going to be stronger. Number one, Champa wouldn't just pick 5 random guys who are weak. He's going to pick the best of the best in his universe.
Right.
And if you also go by the same Dragon Ball theory, even though it doesn't make sense at times because Kid Buu was weaker than Buuhan, and there are going to be people in the comment section who are going to disagree with that, and I don't have time to explain why Buuhan is stronger than Kid Buu. But the thing is, we would both agree, Dino, for the majority of the Dragon Ball series going from Ball to GT to Super,
Villains get
the
stronger.
next arc always has stronger villains. Now, obviously, Battle of Gods Beerus is stronger than Frieza and Resurrection now. But the point I'm trying to say is, looking at it like that, these guys have to be significantly stronger than at least Frieza or around his power.
Right.
So that's telling me that Piccolo has to have some form of getting significantly stronger in order to compete. And this is why I use my theory here, Dino. I use the theory that the only possible way that Piccolo can get that strong is if he uses the Cloudy Dimension, or if Majin Buu uses the Cloudy Dimension. That's the only way to have enough time to train in that small amount of time. Now, the whole thing about eating is kind of weird, because we've seen on multiple occasions that Nameks sometimes eat in the anime when, in fact, they're not supposed to be able to eat if you go by the manga. It's very inconsistent. But the point is, Piccolo virtually just needs water if you're going by what Nameks actually need.
I didn't literally mean they'll starve to death. I'm just talking about they won't be able to move and just be stuck there. That's what I meant.
Well, I'm sure, first of all, Piccolo is a very intelligent character. I can't say the same thing for Fat Buu, but I'm sure that he could figure it out. Because if you think about it, Dina, if you're in there for such a small amount of time, you could explain it, or Whis could just tell him, figure out how to put your ki within yourself. And Piccolo can try to teach himself that. Same thing for Majin Buu. And I think that they're going to have, even if they're not, which leads me into another theory, Dino. I don't think Super Saiyan God, I don't think God Ki is just in relation to Super Saiyans.
Right.
I've now learned that anybody can use God Ki. It's a completely different type of energy, same as we've seen in Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yep.
You know, how we have demon energy, spirit energy, and sacred energy.
Yep.
So I'm thinking that Piccolo, by the only means, has to use the Cloudy Dimension. Makes no other sense how he could get even close. Even if he uses the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, Dino, and keep in mind he did use the Hyperbolic Time Chamber before, to get to God level status, can't see it happening unless he uses
my theory actually is for both Majin Buu and Piccolo, and I have no idea how Toriyama would write this in, but this is literally the only thing I can think about at this point. I'm still going to stick with the idea and belief that they will not get stronger through Beerus and Whis' method, you know, with the whole staff, the Cloudy Dimension, stuff like that, just because, again, I mean, Vegeta's a smart guy, and even took Vegeta a couple of months to actually learn how to, you know, hold ki inside him. And would you, actually, here's a question, who do you think is smarter, Piccolo or Vegeta?
Oh, hell, well, you're asking the wrong person.
Unbiased-wise, like, I mean, they're easily the smartest when it comes down to it, like, Piccolo and... No, I say Piccolo's smarter. He's definitely smarter. But I don't think he's that much smarter than Vegeta in terms of strategy and, like, you know, mastering certain moves. And I feel like even with Piccolo, it's still not enough time for him to learn how to use, you know... Wait, first, here's the question. Do we know if the Cloudy Room is actually like a time chamber where it's, like, delayed time?
Well, from what Goku was saying, he was like, he's feeling time is moving differently. And that's telling me, he's like, I remember he made a statement like it's similar to the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. So if it's similar, that's telling me that if you have 5 days, Piccolo can get years worth of training in just a few days.
But at the same time, the only reason why they got so powerful so fast wasn't because there was a time difference. Is we could also argue that they got strong because it was a room full of God Ki and they just absorbed it. So that's something that they never really actually clarified. Like, we don't know if that is... I mean, Goku compared it to the time chamber, and that's the best we have. And because of that, it's really easy to believe it is like the time chamber. At the same time, that's not enough evidence to assume that's how it works. And hopefully, you know, we'll get more clarification about that as the story progresses. But for now, that's kind of like, you know, a gray area. But the point is, I still feel like, you know, using the method of the cloudy dimension, it's not enough time to, master, number one, God Ki, and two, to get strong enough in time for this tournament and also be ready to fight. Because you can't just train for 5 days and then be exhausted the next day when the tournament's taking place.
I disagree with you, Dino, and the reason why I disagree with you is, number one, you could use various methods, and obviously, as we've seen with Goku, when he became a Super Saiyan God, he found a way to heal himself when he got injured by, Beerus in Super.
Also kind of weird to explain because at first it was linked to Super Saiyan God, but at the same time it's kind of weird. Like, does God Ki itself heal you? I mean, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you can also eat a sense at the end of the day, so technically I guess he could just train for all 5
Piccolo
days.
can heal himself too, also.
This is
that.
also true. So I take back what I said.
Majin Buu can heal himself too.
That's true. This is actually a good point. So I take back what I said about that, but still, I feel like it's not enough time for the tournament to take place and then to master this next level of strength where it took literally months for Vegeta and Goku to do. So my theory is, here's my theory, and let me know what you think about this theory. And anyone watching this video, I want to hear from you guys as well. My theory is 2 things. One, Majin Buu has something that's been shown off several times, and that is the absorption move. I think, honestly, when it comes down to it, part of me believes that, Toriyama will pull out a surprise move out of his hat of surprises, and maybe we'll get another fusion for Buu or absorption, and he'll fight like that. That makes sense. He can probably get stronger that way a lot faster than training, obviously. I feel like, do you agree with this? Majin Buu can get stronger faster than anybody else in the entire series just by doing this.
By absorbing a really strong person?
Yeah.
But who's he going to absorb?
I have no idea. At this point, honestly, I don't know yet. We'll see what happens, because at this point, we also know that they can go inside Majin Buu and just pull him out, and then the transformation, it's not permanent, essentially. So it's a safe way to get strong from Majin Buu. So I'm hoping, actually that'd be pretty badass too, because I would love to see another form of Buu in this next arc. So that's what my theory for Buu is. As far as for Piccolo, even though we don't know how effective it can be in the series, Piccolo's fusions have given him the biggest jumps in power. Essentially, Piccolo's power boosts in the series are all thanks to fusions all the time. When he fused with Nail, he was hugely powerful. When he fused with Kami, it was a joke. Like, he was on the same level as Super Saiyans. So my next, and yeah, even higher. So my theory there is, honestly, I feel like what Piccolo will have to do is he'll have to eat his pride and find another Namekian to fuse with. Maybe he'll go back to Plan Namek and find some warriors and just fuse with them or something. Who knows? But as of right now, the biggest theory, or the best theory for the fastest boost in power for Majin Buu and Piccolo is fusion, essentially. And that's what I'm sticking with. That makes more sense, and I would rather that happen than them get thrown into this room where we'll have more questions like, how the hell did Majin Buu and Piccolo master God Ki in 5 days as opposed to Goku and Vegeta took months? So that's my theory. What do you think about that?
I disagree with you. Respectfully disagree with you for several reasons. The first reason is, you remember, Goku and Vegeta were in normal time originally before they went into that chamber. Had they gone into that chamber from the get-go, that would have changed some things, but obviously Whis needed them to do some chores around, Beerus' place.
Which makes sense.
He didn't feel the time was right. What I'm saying is, in 5 days, since they basically need to jump in power, you got to think about it, Dino. In 3 days, you could get, I'm just saying, if this was just as much as a hyperbolic time chamber, it could move even slower in there.
Right.
If you think about it, let's say in 3 days you get like 5 to 10 years worth of training. That's going to significantly change the way things come out, because Piccolo's going to be way stronger than when he came in.
Right, easily. But again, that's if there is a time delay, because again, all we have in terms of proof that their time is slower is because, Goku says, "Oh, this is like the time chamber." But we don't actually know if that's confirmed. For all he knows, he compared it to the time chamber just because it was like an open void.
Well, I was just saying, he says he felt the time was flowing differently, so which is why I felt that they could get enough time, because Dino.
But something else to point out, they survived off of pizza, off of a couple boxes of pizza. So if there was a delay in time, a couple boxes of pizza between 2 Saiyans wouldn't last that long.
Well, are you sure it was pizza that they survived off of?
Yeah, because remember, what's his name? Beerus wanted more pizza, and Whis said that he stored it all on his staff. So when they brought him back out, it turns out Goku and Vegeta ate all of Beerus' pizza that Whis was saving.
Oh, I actually forgot that small detail. Good job,
So either they weren't in there for a long time, because let's be real, the amount of pizza that they ate between 2 Saiyans will only probably be worth a couple days of, survival, I guess. Because I don't know if they found other sources of food there or what, but they saw pizza, they went for it, they ate it, and when it popped out, they reveal that's how they survived, while they were in that dimension. Now again, for all we know, it does have time delay. Maybe it's not as vast as the time turbo, where like one day is a year. For all we know, they're in there maybe for like a couple weeks. But as of right now, we don't really know much about that cloudy dimension other than the speculation that we currently have.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, Dino, the only problem I see with that is that, like, to master Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan Blue, Super Saiyan Red, Super Saiyan Yellow, whatever the hell you want to call it. I feel like that takes a significant amount of time, but Dino, you make a good point, though, like the whole food thing, and especially what you made a good point, the way they eat.
Yeah, they probably were in it for a long time. The thing is with both Goku and Vegeta, they were able to master the cloud dimension a lot easier because they spent the last couple months keeping ki inside them. I mean, that's the big key here, no pun intended, to learning how to use God Ki. If you can manage your ki and keep it inside your body as opposed to letting it leak out, when you absorb God Ki and you know that ability, it's a lot easier for you to master than it is for someone else.
I know this is going to kind of turn the conversation a little bit, Dino, but you think about Majin Buu, he could probably turn anything into candy. And for Piccolo, all Whis basically has to do is basically just give him like an enormous amount of water.
Yeah.
And I think he'll be fine. And just like you said, the cloudy dimension, they might be able to find food in other areas too.
Yeah. And to be fair, the other thing that Majin Buu has on his side is he has the instant ability to learn. I mean, for all we know, that he'll learn how to control God Ki or keep ki inside him within seconds, because that's his big ability that a lot of people kind of forgot about. He can literally look at something and learn it. So there's also that. But at the same time, I don't know. I guess at this point, all we can really do is wait to see what happens. So let's see what the people think. Let's see what the amazing community has in terms of speculations and the theories. So based on what me and Qaaman said in this video, what do you guys think is going to happen as we prepare for this tournament? How do you think Piccolo and Majin Buu to catch up? If they even catch up, for all we know, they might still be the same. Maybe they're just there for a reason to have 5 warriors. Because remember, this is going to be elimination where it's not going to be 1v1. It's 1v everybody. So Goku can fight multiple times as long as he can. Vegeta can fight multiple times as long as he can. As long as there's a fighter on a team, that team is still good. So for all we know, Piccolo and Majin Buu get knocked out in the first round by chopsticks. Shout out to Qaaman. And it'll be up to Goku and Vegeta to basically, and Monaka, for them 3 to be the ones to carry the team. But again, let's hear from the community, see what everybody thinks. So let us know what your best theories in the comment section below, and I guess we'll take them from there. Qaaman, is there anything else?
Yes, basically all I was going to say is just to isolate our theories. Dino basically thinks that, Piccolo and Buu would basically have to absorb or fuse with somebody. I'm just saying, because I can't think of anybody who they'd fuse with to get that strong, I just think the cloudy dimension is the only way.
So let us know your thoughts, and Qaaman, you know what to do.
Please. Remember. What are the 3 things, Dino? What are the 3 things that they must remember?
To like, comment, and subscribe.
No, it's rate, comment, and
subscribe.
And remember, as I always say to what, Dino?
Have a nice day.
Have a giggity great day, guys.
Giggity.